Hi, Lisa Schermerhorn here with Lisa's Mindset Podcast, and I am so excited to be introducing to you a very dear friend of mine, Heather Holmes. She is a visionary and on health and wellness and a disruptor of the status quo on biology, biotechnology, and innovation. She's president and CEO of EcoBalance Technologies. You are going to want to watch this because what she has to say is really essential in our lives. Her products work on our physical bodies, our food, and works with our pets and animals and our surfaces. These are life-changing, this is life-changing information that I think you're going to really enjoy. So if you have a story or you would like to be interviewed, please contact me. I love meeting people who are visionaries and outside the box thinkers. And if you want to know more or hear more of the podcasts that I've been doing with other visionaries, please go to my YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. I'll have all the links below. Thank you so much for watching, and I always love feedback. Hi, I am so excited to have my dear friend Heather Holmes here. And when I mean friends, we literally spent Christmas together. So
The best Christmas I've ever had.
oh my God, we had so much fun. But I want you all to know about her because she's brilliant and she's beautiful and she's an extraordinary, um, really paradigm, shift breaker or whatever you want to say. She's really a visionary. She's a visionary offering these products, and I want her to be able to talk about these because she covers so many different things. So she's the president of EcoBalance Technologies, and she's and they are missionaries of health and wellness, disruptors of the status quo, and biotechnology innovators. Now I'm going to let her talk to you more about it, but I've been using her products. I have friends who've been using their products and we love them. So I'm so excited to share what she has to say.
Well, thanks, Lise. And I missed you so much. So I'm so happy to be doing this today. And it's a pleasure to be here. I do a lot of podcasts and when I get to be with one of my dear friends, it just makes it so much nicer. I not that the other ones aren't nice, but it's just I'm not as official like today. I can just kind of relax a little bit and just be here. But you read what we have on LinkedIn, and I love it because that's really what we are. We are missionaries of health and wellness, and have been for almost 15 years now. So it's been a long time. I have to pinch myself because I can't believe it's been that long. Seems like I just started my company, yesterday. But where we, how far we've come it blows me away because it's what you just said about the products. I mean, we have been doing this so long now, that we have thousands and thousands and thousands of customers, but I still talk to our customers. Um, and I can't imagine a time where I do not talk to our customers. Because I didn't start this so that I could grow this into a big conglomerate and just forget about everybody and thanks along the way. That's not what this has been about. We consider ourselves to be a truly 5D company because our products are 5D and they really transcend anything that's in the market right now. And we were so ahead of the curve, like
Right.
way ahead of the curve.
So for people, who don't know what 5D is or any of that kind of thing, just to go back, the innovation of what you're doing is really bringing back, because we talk about the products around food. Like so much of our food doesn't have the nutrients that we had, even growing up. so much of our the seeds have been modified. There's a lot of things that go on with our soil, that our soil's been stripped of things. So this is about getting back to getting us more connected to, would you say, nature and
Nature.
and our own biology, correct?
Yep. Yep. And using tools in nature to help us correct what's gone wrong in nature, if
Right.
that makes any sense. Because I'm realizing now that these glasses are swallowing my face. So
I think they look beautiful on you,
I'm
but
just gonna put them up here right now. I'm like, oh my God, like I couldn't. So anyway, if we are conscious of the fact that um bacteria, and that's the game that I'm in, is bacteria, right? But and I want to go down this road with you and for the viewers, because bacteria outnumber us, in us, on us, and around us. I'll repeat that. Bacteria outnumber us, in us, on us, and around us. And what does that mean? That means that you could never, ever kill enough bacteria to make you safe, make you protected, or make you clean. You can never do it. It's impossible. It's biologically impossible to do that. And we are actually in a state right now where even the most natural of products can kill bacteria. I love essential oils, love them,
Mhm.
but they can kill bacteria. And whenever you kill bacteria, it will turn back on you, period. There's no way around it. It's just the way that they work. And the way that they work is that they actually use something called quorum sensing. Bacteria, they talk to each other. They use something called autoinducers. Autoinducers are kind of the diplomats, so to speak, and say, hey, I'm alone out here. I'm not sure what I feel like doing or what my job is. And the like kind of bacteria communicate and say, hey, we have a job for you to do. Come on over here. So bacteria, when they get enough numbers, start to perform jobs. And it could be a beneficial job, right? Or it could be a not beneficial job
So the same
leading to
bacteria
disease,
could do both jobs.
depending upon which way it goes.
Interesting.
Okay. So we have gram-negative bacteria that harm us, and we have gram-positive bacteria that help us. So in this quorum sensing, they also have a universal language, bacteria do. So in this universal language, they can communicate with all of the different species, and there are trillions of species. So it's literally like English as the universal language. They can communicate, communicate, communicate. And in our case, when we use good probiotic soil spore bacteria, which everything I do in my technology is based in that, when we use that, we get our guys, our good guys, sending out that language saying, hey, we're here and we're coming for you. So that's how they work. And then they do a little battle. And ours are stronger warriors. And they outcompete the
Now, can they,
superbugs, the super molds, and
so
super funguses.
is it a battle that happens like to go after each other, or can they actually communicate and then get them to change their job?
So, good question. So, when they're talking to each other, the good ones
Mm-hmm.
will identify the bad bacteria that's making something called biofilm.
Okay.
And I talk about biofilm a lot. And for those of you that have listened to me before, you know what it is. But for those of you that haven't heard me before, here's what it is. It is the plaque on your teeth. So you do know it, but you've never known what it's called except for plaque. But that's biofilm plaque. What causes Alzheimer's is biofilm plaque. What causes infection of our hearts? Biofilm plaque. Sinus infections, biofilm plaque. Catheter infections, yeast infections, eczema, psoriasis, uh, toe fungus. I could go on and on and on up to the fungus that ate out the floors and walls in the hospital.
What?
Yes. Candida auris.
It ate out. So
Ate out the floors and the walls in a hospital in New York. It is so
wow.
virulent. Now, it would not be virulent if it were not housed and protected like 1,000 sheets of plastic wrap in this biofilm shelter. And the bad bacteria, every single bacteria consumes food. Just like us, we have to eat, live, and survive. So do they. So they're scavenging. And when they do it, they poop, they excrete, just like we do.
Right.
So they eat, excrete. Now, the probiotic spore bacteria that we use, they'll on a surface start eating, cleaning, and excreting, but they're excreting biosurfactants. So they're bioengineering that surface in a natural way. And that's why they can keep cleaning for 7 days. They eat, they excrete, eat, excrete. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's a wet or dry surface, but now take the bad guys. The bad guys take that food. Let's say you used bleach, clean with bleach. You've now wiped out all the good guys. Bleach
Yep.
takes 15 minutes to work before it even does anything, by the way. But also smells horrible. It's caustic, but it wipes out all the good bacteria, and 99.9, that 1% comes back because I need 10 good guys to balance one bad guy.
Wow.
So that 1%, 0.1%, wakes up the bad guy and goes, food, starts eating, and then it excretes. But instead of excreting a wonderful biosurfactant that cleans, it starts to excrete an attachment of sticky, gluey, disgusting, filmy stuff that you can't see that's at the microscopic level, but you certainly have felt on your teeth, or a slippery rock, or a granite countertop, if you feel that. So all in a moldy shower curtain, all of these things, or a smelly shoe or something else. And so all of these things happen because the bad bacteria are not in balance. When they're not in balance and they're not in check, they can wreak havoc, and they do. And they form this biofilm, and it keeps forming and breaking off, keep forming and breaking off. It's like the pig in the Geico commercial. Whee! And it's just flying all over the place and attaching to everything. And that's why biofilm, this biofilm plaque, is responsible for 80% of all disease and infection.
Wow.
That's our
That's
biggest
That's
contributor.
crazy. And you know what? I just saw something online. I don't know if this is true, but there were people talking about some of the most toxic things that you could have in your house, and they stepped aside and they were bleach cleaning products. And they said the fumes alone are equivalent to smoking like a pack of cigarettes a day.
Yep.
The people don't realize that when you're breathing those toxic fumes in, the damage you're doing to your own lungs. So I found that fascinating. And then I wrote something else. Oh, antibacterial soaps.
No, 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 no.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yep. And hand sanitizer, same thing.
yeah,
Antibacterial soaps, hand sanitizers, um, all contribute to biofilm. So think about that the next time you buy a product, even if it's colloidal silver, even if it's an essential oil or vinegar, okay? They kill the probiotics. Ozone kills the people are on this big ozone kick right now. I can't stand it. It's talk about caustic and that smell and getting in there. It's not good for you. I don't care what anybody says. But you know, when we think about all of these things, um, I- when when we think about the probiotic bacteria, we always think about our guts or a
right.
yogurt or something like that. But the reason I even got into this was because my whole background is medical devices and equipment, 7 years in infection control, sterilization. And I got into Chinese medicine when I was 15 and free range chicken when I was 20, when it really was free range chicken. Yeah, not a fake free
Growing
range chicken,
chickens or
but
eating
no.
them.
Yeah, well, so um anyway, I had bronchitis that I got when I was 5, and it never left me, and then it escalated and turned into a sinus infection. And what really was happening that I didn't understand is that my sinus infections, and the reason I kept taking antibiotics 6 times a year, triggered by a change in weather, not enough sleep, drank too much, um, you know, heat went on, air went on, whatever. It was like a runaway train, you know that, and you just want off the hamster wheel. It's like, let me off, please. I just can't take this anymore. And when it starts, you're like, oh, holy shit. Like I'm done. So you go on the Z packs, you go on erythromycin, you go on all these things, and now you're wrecking your gut, wrecking
Yeah.
your gut bacteria, getting yeast infections, getting pneumonia, getting um, uh, chronic urinary tract infections, all the above, which I did, and taking this 6 times a year. So for over 20 years. So you can imagine. And I started taking acidophilus probiotic. One of the bosses I had in medical, he's like, Heather, should really do it. Go get yogurt. And the only thing we knew at the time for a probiotic was Jamie Lee Curtis and Activa yogurt,
That's
right?
right.
That was the
That's
only
right.
thing that we knew. And so I was, I was seriously committed to staying in the natural realm because I am so sensitive to chemicals that I didn't want them around me at all. And the worst thing is going to a restaurant and they're all cleaning with this horrible stuff, and a lot of them even pine sol, and the Mexican restaurants, they use Fabuloso, which is the most caustic, horrible smelling. It's worse than bleach, I think.
Mm,
But it's inexpensive. So of course, they're going to use
right.
it, or Windex and so on and so forth. But anyway, I really found that the acidophilus had a positive effect, but it still wasn't curing me. But I could tell my yeast infections were getting a little better, for a period of time, and then they come back. But it was enough for the light bulb to go on my head and go, what else are probiotics good for?
So, it's interesting you talk about probiotics. My cousin is a physician, and he did a study with probiotics, and he bought a bunch of different ones, and he put yogurt down as a culture for all of them. And then he opened up and he said it did not matter what the cost was of these probiotics. Some of them were like $100, some were 50, some were $25. They were all over. And he was looking to see if he could create, put these in there, and then they would grow a culture. Most of them were dead. He was shocked.
Hmm.
He said to me, I can't believe we are spending a fortune on probiotics, and most of them are dead.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what I found out. And I know
Yeah.
why. I know why that happened. And it happened because in the process of them, there are two types of probiotics I always talk about. The cultures, which are in yogurts and kombucha and kefir and things like that. Plant-based probiotics require sugar to stay alive,
Mhm.
and they're very, very temperature sensitive, and they're very fragile. So you can imagine when they're going through the process and they're heated or whatever, they're inert. They're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
You've killed them. They're like, but cultures you can't really kill. It's like you have to keep them alive with sugar, and it's very difficult to do that in the processing. And so for a while, there were people trying to copy us. We were the first ones out and with our probiotic cleaner and stuff. But I'll talk about how we're different in a minute. But I'm watching these cleaners come on the market, and I'm looking, and they have lactobacillus in them and molasses. And I'm like, oh my God, you are cleaning your counter
With
with
molasses?
molasses, with sugar. And all of them had to have a sugar base because that's the only way that they could try to keep any of the probiotics alive in that bottle. And those plant-based ones are not, they're too fragile to do anything in the external environment. They can't. They're fish out of water. And so that's why the soil-based spores, as I did my research back in 2008, I mean, this is so early, 2009 through 10 and 11, just kept researching and found that the soil-based spores could not only go to the microscopic level and get rid of the biofilm, but they had a prevention measure in them also. So you may hear like colloidal silver, enzymes, chlorine dioxide. They all make the claim we get rid of biofilm. Well, that's only partly true. Enzymes, first of all, and all these other products, they pit the biofilm. So they give the sense that they've cured something or fixed something and that they've gotten rid of the biofilm, but it always comes back. So unless you not only completely eradicate the biofilm, that's one piece. The second phase is you must have that prevention in there. And what the beauty is of the soil-based spores is not only can they get rid of the biofilm and prevent it, but they stand guard and they keep working for days. So they make your cleaning easier. Everything's cleaner and back balanced the way it should truly be because you're always cleaning with live spores. What's in our environment? Are spores. I talk about gram negative and gram positive spores. So we bring the gun to the gunfight, not the knife to the gunfight. Apples to apples, not orange to apples. So it's all working in tandem, and nature communicates, to my point, and understands each other and then rebalances and works together. So whether that is in your environment, and I always talk about creating your home biodome of health by repopulating this good bacteria in these specific places that we know the bad bacteria want to like really go to town on things. And that is the surfaces we touch. So that
Right.
includes your wall, your floors, your sinks, your counters, your toilets, your air. And that's the second part is the air. And we've got free floating mycotoxins and everything else going on, right? Because especially in a moist environment, molds are very, very prevalent and fungus is very prevalent. I'll go back to my sinus infection for 1 second. Those antibiotics in that hamster wheel I was on, antibiotics weren't, I was bringing the knife to the gunfight
Yeah.
because it becomes fungal
Yes.
and the doctors don't know this.
I will tell
And
you, I've had a
so,
lifetime of this. Chronic sinus, chronic upper respiratory, ear infections, you name it. I was on antibiotics 2 to 3 times a year, if not more. It's been a constant in my entire life, and I knew my gut bacteria has been wrecked. I mean, this has been since a little girl. And so when I talked to you about this, it was like such a, it went off. It's like it's all fungus and candida that's actually spread through our
yep,
entire body.
yep.
Yeah,
And if you like sugar and all of that, you're going to feed the candida.
right,
But it's so hard, especially for women, to keep that pH balance
right.
and in the body. And all of our products are pH neutral, but it's just really hard to do that. And so you have to let the bacteria work for you. So we talked about applying them on surfaces
Yeah.
and how they keep cleaning for up to 7 days. We talked about um, the air and getting it into the air, and really not just into the air, but up our nose, in our ears, all of our pets, all of that. The third way is through your mouth to get that balance back in there, clean your teeth, and that is your connection to your brain and your gut. So all that. And then the last piece is the largest organ you have, which is your skin.
Yeah.
So I started out by saying we're outnumbered by bacteria in us, on us, and around us. So we'll talk about the last part, which is the digestion part of the probiotics. And so we developed an entire line to cover you from head to toe to make it easy for you to start replacing products that are not benefiting your health with products that truly benefit your health and put that bacteria balance back. And you are doing a service for all of your pets, your neighbors, everybody that would ever come into your environment, because now they get the benefit of it because the probiotics move around. And once you start to use them, they have a cumulative effect. We had a 4-year hospital study done. And in that 4-year hospital study, we compared it to disinfecting. And what we found is that we had a 96% reduction in nosocomial infections. And what does that mean? It's an infection a superbug infection, basically, that you've acquired in hospital. They do not get paid for that. It costs them like $250,000 of non-reimbursed expenses. So they'll cover it up. You get a staph infection in the hospital. You get MRSA in the hospital. You get listeria, infection, E. coli, all of it. Somebody didn't wash their hands correctly. They didn't clean your room correctly. People touching things. There are all sorts of free floating bacteria moving through a hospital environment, especially from people that have had surgery. You've got to protect their wounds very well because you have constant things flying into them. And so when we think about this logically, um, when we are able to get the probiotics in there and they work and they're doing their job and they're getting rid of the biofilm, and their job gets easier over time, the more you use it, there won't be biofilm there. They're happy and they're singing and they're just, you know, they just stop. They stop multiplying the minute they've reached bacterial balance. And that is cool too, versus the bad guys that will just keep running over.
So what do
So,
they do once they've achieved balance? Do they, I mean, are they still alive and they're still
yeah,
eating?
mm,
So what does bacterial balance mean?
bacterial balance means 10 good guys to one bad guy.
Okay.
So we have bad bacteria and we have good bacteria that we need. Because they all do jobs. So we need them. And bad bacteria isn't truly harmful to you until it gets in biofilm. So once it's in biofilm, there was a slide presentation I did recently, and in the slide, it showed the replication of E. coli in a 24-hour period. And you can actually stack it to the sun and back 100 gazillion billion times in 24 hours. That's how fast it replicates. So,
Wow.
yeah, so we can understand with the recall of peaches recently for listeria, and for cantaloupes for salmonella. It spreads like wildfire, and the meat trays from Costco and Sam's Club, and the sour cream and the cheeses from Whole Foods and 12 other restaurants and, or I mean, stores. So you have all these recalls. They're not going down, they're going up. And I predicted this the minute that the pandemic hit. I said, with all of the push to sanitize and disinfect,
Mhm.
we are going to see superbugs like we've never seen before. And they're forming into new ones constantly. And we don't have any antibiotics left. There are no antibiotics left. And if you believe that there are, there are. And that's a sad state, because I think in certain instances, antibiotics in very extreme cases where the bad bacteria is just so overrun, and you're on your death, as much as I know our probiotics can do, an antibiotic is probably well needed in that case, but for a very short period of time. The problem is these doctors keep re-prescribing, 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 which is not the way to go.
Right.
So, these are all things that I talk about because they're so prevalent right now. And what is happening to our food. And you mentioned something to me about our food, and we know that it's getting not only contaminated by soil
Right.
and fertilizer, but you mentioned some things, Lise, right?
Right, right. Well, we know that we have genetically modified seeds, genetically modified products that are being fed to us. There's also products that are supposed to be, this was a shocker in the research that I've been doing, that just because something is labeled organic, our own FDA doesn't keep up with everything.
Mm-mm.
So something could be labeled organic from
Same
another
with grass
country.
fed. Same with
Yeah.
grass fed.
Well, Whole Foods got in trouble for that because they were claiming that they were selling grass-fed beef, and what that meant was access to grass. That the door was open in the barn and that they had access if they wanted to go out there. Problem is they're so conditioned to be where they're at. And so, yeah, that was that. I remember it was a number of years ago that they got in trouble. So we have to be careful about labels because we can't trust them. And
Mm-mm.
there's a product that is now being put on organic fruits and vegetables called A-Peel, and we don't know what's in it. And it's a wax, it's some kind of a chemical coating that is on food. So, again, this is not my area of expertise. I'm just repeating information that I have seen anecdotally. I'm not a scientist, but I'm also aware. I watched someone who had a bag of apples that they brought home from the store, and there was a label that said organic, and they literally peeled the organic label off, and behind it said A-Peel, which is the coating. So they're not telling us. We're not being educated in what's in our food, and they actually have different ingredients for the United States versus anywhere else out in the world. So there are foods that are being sold in the US that are banned in other countries.
Mm-hmm. Like glyphosate.
Yes.
Um, mhm. And that's another thing, glyphosate, when that's used, it goes into the water, it goes into our food. This is another podcast that I did recently, but I talk about the fruits and vegetables because not only as it pertains to superbugs, but the even if the product is organic, It's grown in sewage. The fertilizer that is used for organic farming is sewage. The other thing is the water that comes in when antibiotics are given to livestock. It gets excreted. It goes into the soil. It goes into the water system.
Yeah.
It goes into the growers of the fruits and vegetables. Now I'll go one step further, which is your triple wash lettuce, which is triple washed in chemical. So I would not eat that without washing it. The second part is that your cut fruit that you get from the grocery store is some of the most contaminated stuff in the store. The fruit and vegetables are all they absorb every single thing that they come in contact with. So if it's the person handling it that has dirty hands, now we know why we have listeria or salmonella or E. coli. If it is on a truck and that truck has not been cleaned properly, now the fruits and vegetables are exposed to that. They go into the coolers and the cooling system's dirty, and now they're in the cooler. So this is scary to think about, but it's true. I'm not telling you stuff that's not true. There are papers
Right.
written on this and everything else. And, you know, even scarier to me than all of that is this genetically modified stuff that is coming out because the, I was just reading something in the Natural Products magazine. Like this is a big magazine that goes out to all the retailers and manufacturers. And there are two big natural product shows each year, on the one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast. And the West Coast is huge.
Mhm.
And there are other, sustainability programs that go on as well. So this magazine goes out, and this one thing caught my eye, and it was about stevia because I use stevia. And I buy the organic, purest kind I can find. And I put it on my fruit every day with my blood orange olive oil, which you've seen me do,
Yes, I have.
and into my Earl Grey tea. So I use 2 packets a day. Great. But I see new company coming out, uh new enzymed stevia, bioengineered in a lab. And I'm like, bioengineered lab. We're so proud. We couldn't duplicate this in nature. So we went into a lab and we developed this enzyme that can blah, blah, blah with stevia. Okay. Now, I just read that the other day. I just ordered a product, and I'm going to talk about this because I was so ticked. I just ordered a product from well-known, and I'm probably going to start a war, Dr. Gundry.
Mm-hmm.
We know who Dr. Gundry is.
Yep, I used to order his products years
Okay.
ago.
New product I just ordered, MCT, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Enzyme bioengineered stevia. Now, if you go on Google and you look up bioengineered ingredient, it's going to tell you that it was made in a lab and cannot be found in nature. What the heck am I going to put in my body?
Your body
Not
doesn't
that.
know how to synthesize that. You
No,
can't break it down.
no. And who knows what else it might do to my bacteria or DNA or whatever it is. And there's Jimmy Dean. They're like all natural ingredients, no color, blah, 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 blah. Very fine print on the back of my scrambled egg ham thing that I bought that I am not going to eat and that I wasted my money on. Some ingredients have been bioengineered.
Yeah.
What are they? Did they bioengineer my ham? Did they bioengineer my egg or my cheese? I don't know. So that leads me into the next step of what is going on that people need to be aware of. Now, you almost can't go into your news feed without seeing something about something called CRISPR.
Mm.
And CRISPR, um, for the I can't remember exactly what CRISPR stands for, but what I can tell you is what it does. So what they're claiming is that they've developed a way genetically in a lab to perform the CRISPR that a bacteria would, and to genetically modify our DNA blueprint. I don't know about you, but I don't want my DNA modified, but they're posing it as we're going to help you modify your genes with CRISPR so that you can feel better and stay healthier. So we're going to change your genes. And in essence, we're going to change your DNA. So in the presentation I just recently done, I had all these articles up and it was just, and they're starting to genetically modify pigs.
Yeah.
So we're actually doing a big study with pigs right now, piglets. So I'll talk about that another time. But you know, I can't talk about this enough because the more that people get educated and understand this, the more you can make good decisions about the products you use and your health. And that's why I am so passionate about this. And you could probably sense I'm very passionate about it when I talk about it. And that's why Lisa wanted us to have this conversation today, which has been long overdue because, you know, friends like of mine, like Lisa, that have suffered from gut issues and sinus infections and all sorts of stuff. And, you know, we have always been the external probiotic people, and now we have our internal probiotic product that you just open a packet and pour it in water, and you get all the live spore bacteria making it to your colon.
Right. So
And
this is different. I want people to understand the product that you have does not break down the way that the lactobacillic, what you have in yogurt. This is a
yep.
very different spore, and that you have the ability to keep this stable, correct?
Well, the lactobacillus is not a spore. The cultures are
Okay.
cultures. They're not
Right.
spores. So
Right.
that's where the difference comes in. And so the spores that come from soil are the strongest that you can possibly get. And when they're put not only into the environment or your pet's water or on your pet, which we have, but when you digest them, a beautiful thing happens because they help SIBO, IBS, leaky gut, Crohn's disease, Lyme's disease. It starts to go to work on all of that because all of those exist because of biofilm.
Well, we also have to take care of our gut. They say that the gut is actually a brain.
It
Like we
is.
actually have a brain in our gut, and that is also impacts our immune system.
Yep.
So, when we're eating food that doesn't have nutrients in anymore and has things in it that are basically toxic, that are breaking our bodies down, we get inflamed, we get all of this inflammation in our body. I will tell you that I've been much more aware, so being aware of your food, being as much as you can. You try and believe a label, you can't. So what are the other things that you do? You do other things that support your body to help it heal itself. Because we can't eliminate all the toxins in our body, that stuff that's in the air, the stuff that's, all around us. But by protecting the surfaces, and I love, you've hit all the different areas because you have the surface cleaner, then you have the body wash, and then you have the stuff for, the mouthwash. Um, you have the probiotics. When Heather was up visiting, I had some friends over and she came with the whole back of her car filled with products for us. And we had so much
Have to
fun with
pay for
them.
my keep.
So a friend of mine who actually has a show dog, and she was using the product. What's the name of it? Because I actually have it for my dog, but the actual name for that you add to
Oh,
their
the
food or their
the
water.
pet water and food additive.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she said the plaque on her dog's teeth was gone. She was in shock. She was so excited. She's like, I have to order more of it. She was blown away by that. And then I have another friend who used the body wash on her hair and washed her hair with it. And she's like, oh my God, this is the silkiest and softest I've ever had my hair. I mean, these products are beautiful because they don't have, we could go into body products when you talk about all the skincare, makeup, everything that goes on our body. Our skin is our greatest organ. And then we sit there and we're trying to be healthy, and then we put shampoo in our hair that has toxins in it. And
And we
I
use the
just got,
bad water. We use the
yeah.
bad water too.
Well, I have well water. Mine's
I know your water is wonderful,
my
but
water's good. But I still color my hair. Oops, don't tell anyone. But I still do things because out of my own vanity, and I do my best with things, but I try and have products around that are gonna support me. Now, the other thing, I spent my life waking up in the morning, always congested. Sinuses, that was always just a chronic thing. I felt like I was stuffed all the time. You have a spray that I spray on my bed every night. The
Allergy, asthma,
allergy,
sinus
an
spray.
asthma
Yep.
sinus. And I I don't even know if I have some wood. I have not had a sinus infection and I don't know how long. Ear infection. I don't wake up stuffy anymore. It's amazing. So I have the spray that put in at my face, and I breathe it in, and I spray my ears just outside that you showed me.
I
And then
taught you well.
yes, I still every night before I go to bed, and then I spray my sheets down. And it's amazing because what people don't understand is that we have all this dust mites that get into our sheets, and they feed off of the skin, right? That as we shed
They
our
do, and
skin.
they excrete also the dust mites, and
Yeah,
that's what causes the allergen.
yeah,
So our probiotics act like Pac-Men, and they just go in and gobble it all up
yeah,
and use it for food. Remember I told you they love to eat.
yeah,
So, yeah, and all of this is happening at the microscopic level where you can't see it. And by the way, dust mites, they are the second leading cause of allergies in the world.
yeah,
And they will induce asthmatic reactions as well. So that's why this product is so effective, even for asthmatics and people with serious allergies and
yeah.
obviously sinus infection.
Yeah, so you have products for your pets too. So
Yes,
we mentioned the water additive, but you also have
it
sprays.
does take plaque off the teeth, but
Yeah,
everything that we have done, we've used in livestock and they've only benefited from it. We haven't harmed any of the livestock. Just everything gets exponentially healthier, including the milk and the meat and the animals. And so for years we tested before I came to market with this, even with a test brand for a few years. So you're getting the benefit of years of testing and everything else, which you can't say about a lot of products on the market today, unfortunately. But um, the water additive for the pets, it not only takes plaque off the teeth, but for their digestion, it works similarly to our bodies, and it keeps them balanced. And the spray that we have, the odor and itch spray, it 100% takes skunk odor out. I am living proof. My dog got sprayed 3
oh
times
my God.
in one day, 3 times in one day, and I doused her. I was just all over. I'm like,
Wow.
but it was gone.
Wow, because I've had dogs that have been skunked before, and it is not pretty at all. And they say use vinegar and water.
Mm.
I actually have a really funny story about that. My ex-husband and I went away on vacation, and my boxer got hit with a skunk, and my parents didn't know what to deal with it, so they called the police, and the police told them to go buy feminine hygiene product that have vinegar
What?
and water in them. So instead of just going to buy vinegar, he filled up the supermarket boxes,
With mhm.
opened them up, and put them all over the dog.
Would that be a product beginning with a D?
Yes, the
Mhm. Wow.
officer would tell someone
Wow.
to do that. They must have been laughing at them after they hung up.
I have a joke that I could say with that because it goes with the D, but I'm not gonna do it. Um, but, you do not need to go to that extreme. You can just take the pet odor and itch spray. It helps with hot spots. You know, dogs we've had dogs that gnawed their paws, like,
Wow.
seriously, and spraying, gone. Scott, our friend Scott, unfortunately just had to put his dog down, but, in her last several months, she was just reeking, like, just horribly, and his whole camper was smelling, and, once he started using that pet spray on her and around her, it dissipated, it was gone.
That's awesome.
So, you know, that's really great, and the other thing that I talked about with the allergy asthma sinus spray, I'll go back to pet in a minute, is, um, athletes, their shin guards, the hockey players,
Oh,
they smell so
I
bad.
had two kids who were lacrosse players with the
Oh,
lacrosse bags, let me tell you, and used to
oh.
carpool them.
So you just start dousing those with that spray and it will start to get rid of the odor, I swear to God.
Yeah.
And their uniforms, we have a washer additive that goes in with the detergent. It will change your life with the stinky uniforms and everything else. And then that spray you can spray into your trash can also, so it'll take the odor out of your trash can. And the to the thing for pets, the additive, the spray, and then there's a pet shampoo. And if you've got a pet that's got really sensitive skin, this really rinses clean. It soothes the skin. It's very gentle. It's the best thing you can wash your pet in. And it helps to get like if you put coconut on the skin of your dog to try to get it softer, it will help clean off the coconut also.
Mm.
So that's the pet. We have a skin spray also, and this is really important for athletes also. Um, MMA fighters, wrestlers that can get ringworm, um, all of that. The skin spray is really important. You can use it as deodorant. Spray it into your underwear. It helps with jock itch and feminine itching and all of that, and helps prevent yeast infections and urinary tract infections by getting the good bacteria in there. And I told you it doesn't stay stationary; it moves around. And that is also designed for cuts, burns, rashes, things like that. But I would like these athletes to keep it in their lockers, or any school kid to keep, we make a 2 ounce, just keep it in the locker, spray your locker down, spray yourself, you know, just spray yourself. You'll have a winning chance to not get flu or cold or anything if you're doing that, because you're getting the good stuff around you and you're doing it beneficially for all of your other friends and the school. So please consider doing this. And you know, we, like I said, every product
Yeah.
um is so healthy for you. It's non-GMO, no chemicals, no phthalates, no alcohol, no triclosan. Um, you know, no GMO, I think I said GMO,
Yeah.
no GMOs, but it they can't be healthier. We have no more
Right.
than 5 ingredients in our products. I
Yeah.
mean,
And you have the
re-
fruit and veggie wash too.
super important. Yeah, of what we just talked about. Am
Yeah.
I looking like really yellow? I
Just
feel like
now you just turned yellow.
I'm, oh, now I'm dark
Now
because
you're
this
dark. You're
thing
coming out
went
of the
out again.
dark into the light.
Yeah, I gotta get this back on. Now
Woo!
I'm white. That you know what? That somebody's playing with me because this is like kooky. Here, let's take this
There we
down.
go.
Okay. Well, at least get me back this way. At least I'm like some semblance of normal here. But anyway, the fruit and veggie wash is great because it takes off like that waxy coating, the chemicals that might be there, the whatever that peel um it should take care of that. And many times I don't even buy organic because of the way that things are grown right now, unless I can get it from a farm stand.
Yeah.
But I I I'm like, why bother? Because I have my fruit and veggie wash, and I know
Yeah.
when I wash that, and we go back to the fact that everything is porous. So now it's getting the probiotics in there. So whatever is there, they work fast. They just start to go to town. And so I feel more comfortable in not just our fruits and vegetables, Lise, but our meats. I clean my meats because, sometimes things come kind of slimy.
Slimy. Chicken can be slimy. Fish can be slimy
Pork,
sometimes. Yeah.
all that can be
Yeah.
super slimy. And then I spray the meat tray down with it, or the fruit because it won't smell when it goes into the garbage,
Mm.
which is really nice. So, even turkey at Thanksgiving time or chicken, I spray that fruit and veggie cleaner all over. I should say fruit, veggie, and meat, but I, all over it, and then
Yeah.
just wash it. And it does make a huge difference. It really does. It takes a little extra time to do
Yeah.
your turkey, but
But that's worth it. Although I wonder, my turkey goes into the fryer. I fry my turkey.
it's probably everything's probably like cooked out of it. So I think
So,
you're okay there.
yeah.
But you know, um yeah, I'm trying to make
Yeah, a
this.
little bit later.
No, okay, I can't get no. We're going back. We're going back to the other one because I can't find everything changed, I think, because the light outside
Oh,
changed.
yeah, it's getting dark out
And it
now.
and it yeah, it's getting dark here for us on the East Coast, and twilight's coming. But I look like I'm an alien from another planet right now.
Well, we probably are anyway, so.
Well, we probably are. By the way, on Netflix, there is a show called Resident Alien.
Oh, yeah?
I recommend everybody watch it because
Okay.
it really gives you perspective on aliens and the possibility of aliens living among us. So
Cool. I'm a big sci-fi, Star Trek, Star
yeah,
Wars person, so I love watching stuff like that. So
but
thank you.
it's what I find most interesting about it, and I'm digressing now,
Mhm.
is I love studying human behavior, and um the way that they wrote the script for the alien speaking about his observations of humans and everything else is really comical, and it really makes you think like, wow, is that, he's probably right there about the way that we act and we think, but so many good things about the way that we are too.
Yeah.
And so I love it. But anyway, the one product we didn't talk about is the blood product. And um, originally, when I put the digestive additive out, I put it with our blood product and called it a blood and gut kit, marriage made in health, bonded by probiotics, because it really is. The blood product, the enzyme um, in that product that actually creates the ability to break up blood clots naturally in 5 to 6 hours and get rid of the spike protein from the V.
Mhm.
We really just, um, it does a beautiful job, but it also controls cholesterol and high blood pressure and so on and so forth. So we've had many people work their way off of high blood pressure medications and blood thinners and things like that. And I talked about that Alzheimer's plaque. So this product also breaks up fibrin. So we have thrombin and fibrin in our blood, and the fibrin actually can turn to harmful plaque that goes from the liver into the brain, and also into our heart and arteries and things like that. So the product combined with the digestive product that breaks up biofilm, they recognize each other. They work in tandem with each other. So
Wow.
you're getting another product that works to break up that plaque,
Yeah.
but also works on blood clots. And we know that there have been complications, right?
Yep. And it's a tiny bit. It's like an eighth of a teaspoon. It's like
No,
a
1/16 of a
1/16th.
teaspoon
It's a tiny, tiny bit. So one package of this product lasts a long time.
of the blood product.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
the blood product.
And I can't swallow pills. So I do things that I can swallow, and that's why
Yeah.
that's in a powder, and that's why the digestive product's in a liquid. And it's nice, by the way, the digestive product is in packets, so you
Yeah.
can take those on trips with you, and it makes it very easy, and they don't take up a lot of room, or put them in your purse. But the combination of the two together, and least,
Can people buy your products?
well, we have a very special link for you to take them to our products,
Yay.
and also offering a 10% discount off of everything that you would purchase in the store. And we have free shipping of $100 and over for US residents.
And you're
So,
going to want to buy $100 worth of product because you're going to use all of them.
yeah, we have this thing. Once you start using a product of ours, we usually hook you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but we usually do. So,
And you're the only people who have a product like this, correct?
yeah.
This is not something
Yeah,
where you
and
can find.
Lise, this is a perfect time for me to talk about this because I've purchased some tech, the other kind of piece of the business. So we very shortly are going to have a very big umbrella of offering besides just our consumer products. I'm actually starting up our wound care company, our healthcare company. We have a miraculous wound care product that we've already done studies on, and even the worst wounds, non-healing wounds, let's just say this is a game changer, and it is breaking again. It's a paradigm shift. It's breaking the chain of the hamster wheel of, I keep using that, but of the antibiotic world that is in wound care. And, we're going to be up against um, a lot of people that probably don't want us to have our product out there, because wounds are going to heal so much faster. And there's not an incentive for a lot of these doctors and clinics and home health care and such, and nursing homes to heal these wounds. They get paid more when they don't heal the wounds.
Right.
Not all of them, but things to think about. So we want people asking for the product. That's really what we want to create the change. And then we'll have a wound care product that is a little lesser. Obviously, you're not going to be treating yourself when you get a deep gash with that wound care product because it's medical grade, but we will have one that's excellent for the consumer coming out fairly soon. We also, on the business that has come to us on the other side, livestock products. So we have everything for all of the farmers, dairy farmers, you name it, pig farmers, cow, turkey, chicken, horses, stuff for horses. We also have mold remediation. We have stuff for marijuana and hemp growers, all indoor growers. We have products for that just get rid of the spider mites and the molds and powdery mildew and help them grow exponentially well. And HVAC, very, very big in HVAC. The coils get biofilm on them, and they make the buildings extremely ineffective energy wise, and you're breathing in all of the nasty biofilm air as well. So a lot of big companies are popping on board. And
Wow. Because even with the HEPA filters, right? Unless they're still trapping all of that stuff in.
yeah, yep. And so it's really the coils that are a problem because, and then all of the cooling towers, we got products to get rid of the listeria. We're 100% effective against listeria
Wow.
and
You should
salmonella
get on
and
the
E.
cruise
coli.
lines.
Should be. They're using chlorine dioxide, I know, and we talked about chlorine dioxide
Yep.
and not fully getting rid of or preventing the biofilm. So,
Right.
there has to be a shift everywhere. And I stayed under the radar for a very long time because I did not want to perish. So now I kind of feel like it's the time to be the Pied Piper and get out there.
Right.
And your platform is one of the very wonderful ways. So I thank you very, very much for the time today to be able to
Well,
talk about this stuff.
well, thank you. And I'm going to have links below so people will be able to purchase the products through your website. And, at some point you were talking about maybe that'll be available in a wider way at some time soon.
Yep.
And yeah, it's about education.
Hmm.
So, these are not things like if you saw these products on the shelf, people wouldn't necessarily know what these are.
No.
So it's really important that you share this with your families, share this with your loved ones so that they better understand
Right.
what they're doing. Because when you find out when you're using a bleach product that you're actually doing permanent damage to your lungs, you want to make sure that when you're cleaning and you think you're doing things that are healthy for your family and loved ones, that you're doing the right thing. And so the more you educate yourself about and do your research about what's out there, the more, the more you can stay healthy. And
We work really closely with the functional and integrative medicine community, and one of the disappointments I have is that they've now almost become Western medicine doctors from the standpoint that they're doing one size fits all for a lot of
mm,
people and giving people a lot of products. How do you know which ones work? Like, you don't know
right,
what's working.
right,
And so about 70% of the people that we've had buying our products have some sort of autoimmune disease. And so the one of the biggest benefits of implementing the probiotics into your cleaning and your air and on you and in you is that you are now not fighting your environment.
right.
Your immune system is getting fortified and it's getting stronger. And we talked, Lisa, you know, it is another brain, it's your command center.
Right.
So, you can do all sorts of stuff for your gut, but your gut bacteria act exactly the same as the bacteria outside of you and on you. Think about that. So the products that we use and the way that we're addressing things and how we're cleaning in our environment and cleaning our bodies and our mouths and our stuff for our pets, it's all connected. And we get barraged with almost 250 pounds of environmental toxins annually, and our bodies can't fight that. So let the probiotics do the job for you. Let them fight for you. And that's really what they do. So,
Because when your body is so busy fighting off things, how does it have an opportunity to stay healthy when it's always in a fight or flight mode? So the more you can give to your body, the more you can flourish and be healthy.
amen.
Yeah. So again, Heather, thank you again so much.
Thanks,
I really
ladies.
appreciate, I love talking to you. I learned so much and I really appreciate it. And I'll have contact information if people have any questions, they can reach you. And I look forward to doing this again when you have more
I
products
know.
to talk
Oh,
about.
well, you know what? Maybe we'll do it
Yeah.
again with Scott because we have the coffee detoxer, the probiotic coffee detoxer coming out
Yeah.
in 3 to 4 weeks. and you can get rid of the mycotoxins in your coffee and your coffee beans. So that means you don't have to buy the mycotoxin-free coffee and be stuck with that. We have a lot of coffee connoisseurs out there that will pay a lot of money for their equipment and their beans, and this product is perfect for you because now you get the choice and you get to detoxify any coffee you want.
Yeah, I'm excited. That'll be fun.
Yep.
I'm wondering, does this work? One of the other things that's a big one is peanuts. Peanuts have a tremendous amount of mold. Have you ever looked into working?
I hadn't thought of it, but it would be
Yeah.
interesting to do some lab studies on that to see, how it works
How
on
it works
that.
with peanuts, because I know that peanut butter is highly toxic and
Yeah,
peanuts can be high amounts of mold.
yeah.
Be
It's-
interesting. Another product for you.
There we go. See, this is great. My whole tribe of you wonderful, beautiful people are so smart, and you come up with all sorts of different stuff for us, and we love it. Anything we can do to help, is because certainly that was Scott's idea for I don't drink coffee, so I
I
would
don't
do
either.
anything. So I'm like, what? Coffee beans get mold? What? And he goes, I most people know about it. And I'm like, nah, not really. So of course I start walking around. Do you know about the mycotoxins on coffee? Yep, yep, it's a big problem. And I'm like, who was
Wow.
one person? It was like every coffee drinker that I talked to knew about it. So
Wow. Well, it's much needed because everyone I know, I always feel like I'm missing out on
I,
something
I
'cause
know.
I can't do caffeine. I literally start to shake, and then people are like, "Why don't you drink decaf?" And I'm like, "It's not that important to me." But
Yeah.
so many people do love their coffee and can't get out of their house without it. So this is going to be a great product. I can't wait to talk to you and Scott about it. So anyway, thank you again, and the
Thank
information will
you.
be below, and you'll get your discount code. And thank you again,
Yeah.
Heather.
Thank you, Lise. Love you.
Love you too.